everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. Hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off with the black pieces against a 2023 from Indonesia. We've gone into the Norwegian wrap. They decided to go bishop to d3. So we're going to head more into perk territory. If you want to call it that. I've heard it being called the Pjurts as well. I don't know why. It's not spelt like that, but I think it is from another language, so we will allow it. Not that I'm the end all be all of pronunciation, but hey, hey, they've done something really weird. They've gone knight to d2 to f3 rather than just going knight f3. Okay, we'll just castle. Because why not? I have already tried to record a video today, which didn't really turn out well because I forgot to hit record. I just forgot to hit record, which is great. You know, I've been doing this for almost a year now, which is insane. And I just forgot to hit record. Beautiful stuff. I love it. But there's not much you can do about that. We're here with another game. I think knight g4 is not a horrible move here. Then we're actually threatening to take. Because we're threatening the bishop. Whether I would actually take the bishop or not is another question. But we're at least uncovering our bishop to attack this. And we've got to have an answer. We have to have an answer to that question because they've not decided to move anything. They're going to long castle. So I probably do want to take this. The knight can stay here for now. It might be good on h6 as a bit of a defensive piece. So I'm not stressing about that. We are potentially winning a pawn here, which I like. But if we would have taken this first, then they would have taken with the pawn, so we can't recapture here. And we're threatening the queen here as well, which I like a lot. And then threatening this pawn as well. With queen f6, maybe. I like this. I like this a lot. Where do we go from here? We could throw in knight f2. We're not going to check because they go king f1. And things get tricky after that because two of our pieces are attacked and we can't deal with both of them. So it would have to be the knight or nothing. The rook comes to a2. Maybe we take the bishop. Queen takes. We take the knight. Would actually be a free piece, right? Knight f2. I mean, where do they go? They have to go rook h2. At which point we take the bishop. They have to take with the queen, at which point we take the knight. Yeah, that's a free piece, right? Fingers crossed. That is a free piece. I hope. There is the very real possibility that my calculations are rubbish. But since when has that ever stopped us? We always go for, you know, if you see stuff, you have to go for it. You know, that's something I try to live by. I'd rather experiment and it not work than never try in the first place. You know, I think that's a good thing to try take on board. They decide to resign there. I don't know why they resigned because I think this is potentially playable. Obviously not ideal, but with the knight here, I've got no control over the dark squares. I guess I've got my queen and my bishop. I don't know what I'm on about. Yeah, maybe this is resignable. We will see. Yeah, I mean, that was a nice tactic. It's not an obvious one. Not an obvious tactic at all. But, yeah, definitely a tactic. We've got the perk. So we played the rat, obviously. They go bishop d3, which is sort of like a decline. They could also go knight there. And you can play this more ratty, I guess. I don't think d5 is good. So we just sort of go into the perk, really. And then we do normal perk stuff. They go h4, which is strange. H4 is a common theme when you're attacking the castled king in this sort of situation. Is better to do it after you've long castled, because your king's still in the middle of the board. All I have to do is smash open the center, and I get a good attack going, which is sort of what we see. I decide to go H5. Maybe we can just go straight away and smash the center, but I think H5 is safe. It does give the knight the outpost, quote unquote, on G5 because it can get kicked out by F6. But what's it really doing on G5? Nothing. Really just doing nothing there. It just looks nice. We break E5, and they could have pushed. Oh, which probably wants us to go back to B8. I probably would have gone to E7. Maybe that's a bit slow. But seems fine as well. Apparently, we also are meant to go to D5 here, which is a craze. I hate these. I really, really hate these. There are so many things to calculate with these pawn squares. It gets wild. I try to avoid them, but obviously, you can't avoid the best move. Luckily, I thought knight G4 was fine here. But yeah, this looks wild because they take this way, you take this way, they take this way, you take this way. That's 4 things already. They ignore it, you ignore it, you keep adding pawns, stuff gets wild. They take with the bishop, they take with the pawn, they take with the knight, they take with the bishop, they get the queen involved, and then they're threatening to take this and win it. There are so many things to calculate. Anyway, we go knight G4 and queen E2 seems weird. I don't think moving the bishop back is actually that bad. Maybe it is bad. No, we are just straight up doing this. So maybe just knight F3 then. And the thing is, if I take this, we're no longer threatening to win a pawn here. We are no longer threatening to win a pawn here. So I probably don't want to take this. Queen E2, you're probably looking at an F3. But luckily, I just have take. So if I do a move, you're looking at F3 now because the bishop is defended by the knight. Although we're still winning a pawn, so you can't even do that. So you have to go knight F3 just to defend this pawn again. But then I could potentially just leave this knight here because you can't push F3. So I've surely got just lots of things I can do here. Potentially, we'll see. We'll wait for the engine lines to come up. Give it a second. Knight takes E3, Queen E7, Bishop D7, and just keep developing because this is going nowhere. They can't move the bishop, otherwise we win a pawn. They can't kick the knight out, so they're just a bit stuck. They're just a bit stuck, which is nice for us. I really appreciate that. We take, win a pawn, bishop goes there, and then this is just nasty. It doesn't look like we're winning anything here because everything's really well defended on the F pawn. And the rook has places to go. The bishop's defended, the knight's defended for now. And it doesn't look like there's actually any tactics, but unfortunately, there just is. And the best move is queen takes knight, which is insane. At least you're getting 2 pieces for the queen, rather than what happened, which is rook h2. Maybe you could go rook h3. Isn't a horrible move. And you just takes. Apparently you just let that go though with c6, because then they can't castle. This could go somewhere. It actually can't go anywhere because they go there. You have a bishop e5 if you really want it. Apparently a miss because you're not guarding the knight anymore. Oh, you go check there. Oh my gosh. Rook h3. Then the bishop takes. Oh my gosh. Wow. Threatening mate. They have to go queen e1 to stop mate. So the king has the escape square on e2. But you just trade off. Rook takes. and just take the rook. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's insane. I would have never seen that. And that all comes from C6 opening up these lines for the queen. And seeing that the king's almost mated. That's insane. I really, really like that. Yeah. Wow. They go rook h2, which is completely natural. That's what I calculated. Unfortunately, you just leave this knight undefended with the discovered attack from the bishop. Apparently the move is not even to take the bishop, but to go d5. For some reason. Say you... I don't even know. Save the bishop somehow? Where do you even go to save the bishop? You go there, they just go. To be fair, you could do that. You could do that. You could do that. Then queen there and you just hit the rook. You just hit the rook. That's insane. That's a logical move. Hitting the bishop as well. But then you've got to remember the knight is still hanging. The knight is still hanging. And if you save the knight with a knight h3, firstly we just take. Then we take this knight potentially. And then we have check at the end of it. And we just win that rook. We just win that rook. And we've got to be a bit wary of our king's safety. But, I mean, we're up 11 points of material. So we can afford a bit of time. We can afford a bit of time. But yeah, that was the game. And this is minus 3.3. So you could potentially play this on. But I think resigning is forgivable. I think resigning is very much forgivable. Rook h1 saves the rook. Bishop c5. Long castles. You know, seems active. Seems active. You know, if you can get some pawns pushing, potentially you have some sort of play. f6 doesn't seem like a move I would ever want to play. Check. King g7. Knight e6, bishop takes, but then you're sort of trading off. And I like black even more. So maybe you do just go knight h3. Maybe sack the knight on h5 for some sort of attack. Get these pawn pushes. There's still some stuff. There is still some stuff, but yeah, I think forgivable. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked, and I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye bye.